Hello and welcome to Just Like Me with Nicole. I'm here with Nicole and we have just exercised a lot of persistence. And Nicole has exercised a lot of patience. And we are excited to be able to share this interview with you so that you can get to know Nicole a lot better. So thank you, Nicole, for your patience with me, and I'm excited for all of our members to be able to get to know you over the next little while here.
I'm excited to be getting to know everybody.
Yeah, they've been fun, these interviews, for sure. So why don't we start with you talking a little bit about how you found Namaste Yoga, how you came to the membership site, a little bit about how you came to yoga and your relationship with it, that kind of thing.
I found yoga probably 15, 16 years ago through an experience I had with an eating disorder. Needed to find ways to exercise gently in the recovery process that I was going through. I was limited on what I could do. Fell in love with it and how beneficial it was, and I learned from books and videos for literally years. Where I am from, we're just now kind of getting to the yoga swing of things, so it's still a relatively new mindset in my area. Lots of videos, lots of books, lots of alone time on my mat. Through the internet, I was able to find some other resources and realized there was more out there than what I was getting from books. One of my resources would periodically update. I guess this must have been about 2011 or so when I was going through a difficult period of my life, and I was running out of steam, so I went to one of my go-to, I think it was called Yoga Yak at the time. I don't know if that's still the name of it. And one day I came across something new that caught my eye, and it was Dr. Melissa West. And I was like, okay, honestly, I'm not too sure about this, but I was going to check it out because I needed some inspiration. And I started practicing with your free YouTube videos, starting at 1 and working my way up for months and months and months. Kept hearing you say, come join the membership site. And I wanted to so badly, but very tight on my budget. Kept talking myself out of it because, well, there's other things that I need to spend my money on. And one day it clicked, and it coincided with you broadcasting that lock into our rates right now. It's getting ready to go up. I remember, I'm like, I'm doing it. I deserve this. And it had been in one of your videos about, I don't even remember exactly what it was, but it was just perfect timing. What do you do for yourself? Mm-hmm. I'm like, hey, I can do this for myself, and we'll just call it my Christmas present from the kids. And this was August of 2013, I believe. And I've been hooked ever since. But it's came. You popped into my life. Yeah, I would describe you as my angel. Exactly when I needed you. I was in a rough place, and I was very stagnant, and I needed something that only you were able to provide at that time. So.
And you've had a lot of change and transformation over that time. I mean, I feel like a lot of the people that I've interviewed, this has been the case, but I feel like you've come a long way, and yoga has changed you a lot, and you've become, well, you were quite self-sufficient when you started, since you really were on your mat by yourself the whole time. But tell us a little bit about that transformation that's occurred. I mean, I see it in your face right now. If you guys could have seen Nicole's face when I first met her compared to her face now, which is so soft in comparison. And I knew that was going to happen. I was like, this
You
face
even
is going
said
to
so,
soften
yes.
out. Your face is going to change. And it has. It's changed. There's a softness to your face before, which, before you looked like you were.
I was in survival mode.
Yeah. I want to say this in a nice way, but I'll let you say it then.
No, I was going through a divorce from a very, very, very bad, emotionally, um, neglectful, marriage. And, I was miserable. I was literally just surviving. And through my process with you and your practices and your teaching, it's just kind of like, I'm okay. Everything that's happening is going to be okay. I'm ready to live. I don't want to say I've wasted my life away, but I've survived, and it's just pretty exciting, the changes that take place when, you've got the right support and you've got the, encouragement and the desire. And you help to bring about the whole community.
Hmm.
It just that desire to bring more meaning to my life, for myself personally, but for those around me too.
Hmm.
Um,
And the thing that I think is so interesting about your story too is that it's not that your life has gotten easier. It's not like, okay, that big, tumultuous, challenging time in your life is over now. I mean, aspects of it you've moved beyond, but it's like, I feel like life keeps handing you curveballs, and I feel like you are able to respond to them with a lot more grace now.
I certainly hope so. Um, for a long time, I felt like I was literally just a walking time bomb, just ready to go off at just any given time. Um, Unfortunately, I'm ashamed to say that I did. Um, Now it's just kind of like something comes up, and, um, not that it's any easier to go through stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And to learn to, I think a lot of it is I have learned to learn how to feel the stuff that's coming up, and to be patient with whatever I'm feeling, and to know that it's gonna pass. Um, there's been a great amount of trust and faith, um, in the process,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess in myself. Um, I used to always pretend to be strong. Now I realize that sometimes it's okay to be weak, because in our weakest moments, that's where we can find strength.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, so reaching out to other people, I think, has been one thing that this community has really brought to me, is a safe environment to be able to reach out and say, hey, I need prayers today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's been, it's been a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah. So where can people find you when you're on the membership site? What are some of your favorite places and your favorite videos?
I am all over the place. Um, I don't post everywhere, but I definitely read everywhere.
Hmm.
I think some of my favorite places, of course, the book club. I'm really enjoying being there. I think Shannon Vell for introducing me to my love of books again. I'd forgotten that I like to read until, um, Ivy's devotional. I'm there.
Let's go
Oh,
into the book club for a little bit then,
okay.
because I think we need to thank you so much for taking over the book club for Shannon Valley. Okay, yeah, the book club is still at the bottom in the study and reading group section. So I'm going to scroll all the way down to study and reading group and the membership book club. And you have done a fantastic job of, when you took it over, we really looked at what was working with that book club and what wasn't working with the book club. And what wasn't working is it was a way too fast pace. And so we decided when you took it over to slow it down and to take a book, and we decided to take 2 books and read it over a longer period of time. And so we've been reading 2 chakra books and reading a chapter a month and sometimes a chapter a couple months.
Yes.
And so now you guys are on the 5th chakra. So here is the 5th chakra. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, because you just recently moved to the 5th chakra, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's happening in the book club there right now?
The 5th chakra is the throat chakra, and our discussion this week, and I think we're going to go ahead and carry it a little bit into next week, about how mantras can help to raise the vibrations in our body and to keep our minds clear, to purify our internal selves so that the energy can flow
Cool.
free.
Nice.
So.
That's a great topic. I know, mantra yoga, kirtan is supposed to be one of the fastest ways to enlightenment. It's supposed to be the lazy man's way of enlightenment. So if you want to fast track, then you should be chanting. So that's great.
It's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah, I'm excited, and I'm also excited to see us coming towards the end of these books too. We're getting towards the end. There's 5th chakra, a couple more chapters in this book. I'm excited to see where our book club might turn after this book. So what have you found to be the best part about reading? Because these are classic books in the yoga repertoire.
What was your question?
Well, what have you enjoyed most about reading the chakra books, the Anodea Judas, Eastern Body, Western Mind, and Wheels of Life? They're just totally classic books.
They are. I am particularly drawn to I love them both. I just love the energy work. I think that it's just to me it's fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this particular chapter to me seems a little bit scientific, and I think she can kind of go into the scientific side of it, to where only a person like me and maybe you, might really kind of enjoy it. So that for me has been challenging, to kind of stay away from the heady part.
You're also getting up higher,
yeah,
in the system, so it does get headier.
Yeah.
But yes.
But it's definitely been tracking my progress, because I have been journaling. I do a lot of journaling, so tracking my progress from where we started in the root chakra. Starting with fear, which is a huge issue for me, to where I am now. It's just like, whoa. I mean, it's just kind of like, okay. I voiced an opinion to my mother today that I never would have, 2 years ago. So
Wow.
it's just like, and I know that has to do with working and studying in these books. And it's been fun getting insights from the other members that are participating, and getting their insights, because I learned from them. So I'll take their ideas as well, and I'll try to incorporate them and see how it works for me. And some do, and some don't.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think sharing is just such a great process. So, and growing.
Yeah, and we learn so much from each other's comments here on the site. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I know I pulled out Wheels of Life just today when I was writing a blog post, because I was writing about something that related to the third chakra and connecting to our will and our power. So I'll just flip through that third chapter on the third chakra and just look at her wording and the way she talks about it to find some ways to access that, our internal power, you know. And she just, it's just the right ways to
Yep.
put it. There's always there, you know. And
And
it was about not being, you know, I was trying to find the right words around not being a victim to time. You know, who would have thought that it was going to be in Wheels of Life, but it was.
it's like everything. I mean, it's just kind of like she's lived it, she's experienced it, and she knows her stuff, and she knows how to put it into terminology to where it's easily accessible, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, definitely. So I'm excited. I think this is something that a lot of people, especially who are interested in the style of yoga that I teach, which is tends to bring in more the philosophical and the mind-body
mhm.
connection. I think that going through these books has been something that our students would be interested in anyway. And the nice thing about these chapters is that you can jump in at any point too.
Yeah.
You don't have to read from the beginning. Any chapter on any chakra is a standalone chapter.
And she even brings up, like a particular god or goddess, or deities or whatever. If you want to work with a stone, she may have a stone. She's got whatever you want to work
No,
with.
it's
She's
so
got
thorough.
suggestions. So if you don't like something, there's plenty of options.
Yeah,
Pick another route to work with that particular chakra. So I like that. I like options.
yeah, and you know her books are thick and dense, and you know there's two different books we chose too: Eastern Body, Western Mind, which is more the psychology approach. So if that approach appeals to you, you can go with that one, or the Wheels of Life, which is a more a straight chakra approach, not so psychological. So you've got two choices, but with the books being so thick, you can, and they're pretty well organized too in subheadings in the chapter. So I find if there's a section of the chapter that I'm not really interested, you can just flip through those pages.
And even the index, she has an index so well that you can
Mhm.
cross-reference. And that's a beautiful thing, I think.
I think so too. Yeah, she's definitely a powerhouse of an intellectual, a Saraswati um, a subject, or what you, do you know what I mean? Like she's an understudy of Saraswati for sure.
Yes.
Yes. So yes, that's our book club, which is really cool. And there's also, you know, I would encourage you to go back in our book club too. We have some great books that we've read before Wheels of Life. Uh, One of my favorite ones that we've mentioned a few times in our book club was the November book club. Yeah, our November book, which was The Way of the Happy Woman. We bring that book up a lot because it was incredibly influential for a lot of people in our membership site. So,
I still pull that one out too with the seasons changing. That's
mhm,
that's a great one to have.
mhm.
So,
And there's a lot in there that I think that is really helpful for us in our 21st century over I think now more than ever, the amount of screen time is so much that there's a lot in there to help us detach from that screen time too.
mhm.
Yeah. So that book was out of all the books that we read, I think one of the most impactful. It might be one that we should go back to actually and read in seasons.
I like that.
Why
I should do that.
read a new book? Anyway,
Well, there's been so many people added into the community since
I
that came
know.
along. It's unbelievable.
That was such a good book. And I find myself recommending it to a lot of people. So, yeah. It's got a little bit of an unfortunate title, I think, the way of the happy woman. I don't know. But it's just one of the best books I've ever read.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was good.
Yeah. Okay, so you were about to say something else. Oh, I wasn't sharing the screen when I did that. I'll show the screen there where it was. It's in the November book club, and there's the book. Okay, you were about to show something else when I asked you to delve a little bit deeper into your book club section, which you've been running for, that's got to be over a year now.
Has it been that long?
I'm not sure.
I don't know that it's been that long, but it's maybe getting close. I think what I was getting ready to say is Ivy's devotional. That's another place where I spend a lot of time. But that's my own personal time. I don't want to post there. That's just where I want to be in prayer and with Ivy's teachings.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So that's here in the daily practice section.
and I love to participate in the devotional thread where people can go and ask for prayers or extra support or whatever they need. I'm there quite often praying and sending out energy to whoever may need it.
Yeah, go ahead.
And when updates come in and there's good news, I think, this is what it's all about.
Yeah. It's I love that section. It's one of the most beautiful sections, I think, of our site, too. Yeah. Thank you. Any favorite videos?
I am all about the yoga for anxiety.
Okay. I'm surprised you're the first person that's mentioned that,
Yes.
but yes.
I have dealt with anxiety for a good portion of my life. Um, and yoga for grounding is a very good one as well. And the yoga for depression, I think those are anytime I start to feel overwhelmed, I just don't even hesitate. Those, I just go there.
Okay. So yoga for anxiety. So tell us a little bit about this video and then we'll go through each one.
Well, for me, and I do so many of them, sometimes I get them confused, but is this one where there's a lot of breathing exercises that help for me?
Looks like a lot of
Grounding.
breathing.
And a lot of grounding for me. I love that shirt. That's one of my favorite shirts of yours.
Yeah. That one I've worn a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of grounding in this one, and it's really slow. In fact, if you haven't done this video yet, which I don't know if there's many people that haven't done it, the first time people do this video, there's kind of an aversion to it because it is so slow. I remember there was kind of a little bit of negative feedback to it when it first came out because it took a while to settle into. Like if you're anxious and then I'm asking you to slow down this much, it was challenging for people. But I'm glad I didn't make everybody a whole new video because they were having a hard time with it. But what people found was once they stuck with it, it's the most watched video on our membership site. And so it's working for a lot of people.
For me, I'm so fast paced. It's rush here, rush there, rush to work, rush back from work, rush through work. Everything is rush, rush, rush. This is one of the videos that really taught me that it's okay to slow down and to catch my breath.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is one of the reasons that I was drawn to it in the first place.
Yeah.
I probably had the aversion to the word anxiety because that's not something that I really want to admit that I have a problem with.
Yeah. I tried to give a lot of permission around it in this video. It's because it is, if you are Vata in nature, it's just, and I am too, and it's going to be part of your life, unfortunately. So each one of the Ayurvedic constitutions has, stop sharing. So each one of the Ayurvedic constitutions has an element associated with them. So kaphas are earth and water, and so they're very stable, and they don't experience anxiety. Pittas have a lot of fire, so they experience anger. And then vatas are wind, and so anything. So if you think about the analogy I like to use is like a stick of incense. Anything comes into a room, and so if you imagine what's coming off a stick of incense, that little smoke, anything happens in the room, that smoke from the incense is going to be affected. And that is how it is for a vata. Unfortunately, for better or for worse. For better part of that is that vatas are incredibly creative, and their minds are able to go here, there, and everywhere, and it's amazing. But the challenging part for the vatas is that anxiety is just a part of your life. Mm-hmm. And so, armed with that knowledge, you do have to do a lot of things to bring grounding to your life. So I often think people would be surprised to know how anxious I am too. I experience a lot of anxiety too, and I have to take a ton of time out of my day to root and ground myself. My practices, I need a lot of time alone, a lot of time to regroup. So it's just part of having a lot of Vata constitution. So, and that was something that I talked about a lot in that Yoga for Anxiety video. So once there's acceptance around that, then you can deal with what is. So as you said, then the other video, and I'll show it now, is the grounding video, which kind of takes anxiety. It could be yoga for anxiety too, but it kind of takes it from a little different perspective in the rather than looking at from the personal perspective of you're a vata, so you're going to have anxiety. It takes it from the perspective of this is the world we're living in, and if you're living in this world, you're going to need to spend a lot of time grounding, because we live in a world which is very uprooted and ungrounding. And I think that's even more true from the time that I made this video, because the world of social media is even more prevalent than the time that I made this video. What would you like to say about your experience with this video?
I'm wanting to think that this has the dying warrior.
Yep.
And that, to me, I think the first time I came this was when I was still going through my divorce process, and it was a 2-year-long process. So in that, I can just remember going into Diane Warrior in this video and thinking, I am going to survive, and I'm going to rise up almost from the ashes. Mm-hmm. I think I was just like, okay, I do feel like I am dying. A part of me is dying. And but when I every time I'd get up, I'd be, okay, I'm dying, but I'm coming up a little bit stronger. Mm-hmm. So that's really what attracts me to this video.
Nice. So, that's like one of my forgotten poses lately, is Dying Warrior.
I love it, and that's one that I think that I missed. Teaching myself yoga through videos and books, I think that I missed dying. You introduced it to me, so
yeah. It's not really in books.
I love it.
Yeah, and sometimes when you live in a certain spot, there are or postures that just aren't really introduced. Like, I never got introduced to Peaceful Warrior, just wasn't really around in Toronto. Haha, isn't that funny? And then there's different names for different poses in different places. Like here, people call supported back bend heart bench, which I think is really sweet. And then yoga for depression.
Breath of joy.
Yes.
My favorite part of this one. You can't do breath of joy without starting to giggle.
There's a lot of giggling poses in this video. It's like this class will just get the funk right out of you.
I love it. I love this one.
I mean, this video, the conditions were so awful, but yeah, there's a lot of really funny stuff in this video. There's lion's breath, Chris. That's always fun.
Now, my
And
kids love to watch us doing this one, Melissa.
I bet there's the breath of joy. And then isn't there there's the heart thump one in this one too, where you thump your heart and
Yes, I believe it is in this one.
yeah, that's one where like with depression, it's almost like the heart is kind of stopped or at a standstill. And so in this one, there's this really great heart thump where you can kind of restart your own heart. There's some really cool practices in this video. And if you're in a slump, and there's the one breast sun salutations in this one too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun things. There's the rocking in this one. Stop, drop, and rock and roll. And
You can't not have fun in this video. It's just,
yeah.
and I think this is one of the first videos maybe on the membership site that I came through, and I just, of course, I've always thought that you were just really cute. Your personality just shines. But there was just something really, really special about you in this one. It was just like,
It was, yeah. I don't know. Maybe it was all the bug spray.
maybe.
I don't know. We were filming at a retreat center that day. We had gone all the way out to a retreat center to film, and it was black fly season. And
Oh my goodness.
oh my gosh, we must have used a can of bug spray that day to try and keep the bugs off the camera, off me. It was just the most horrific filming conditions. Some of those videos, I'm so grateful for where I live now. There are no bugs here. Anyway.
No bugs? No
No.
bugs?
I look at videos even in Ontario now when we were on Lake Ontario, and I watch the bugs fly in front of the camera, and I think, wow, so nice. So nice here. No bugs. I used to get bit all the time when I was filming. Not fun. Okay, so those are great videos, and those are Yoga for Depression is one of the classic ones that I made even before the membership site, and then Yoga for Grounding and Yoga for Anxiety were requests that I made once the membership site was up. And yeah, I have thoughts of making those. I would love to make those videos into a shorter series because I think that would be beneficial. But what I suspect I might do is teach you how to make them into shorter classes before I have a chance to do that with the postures and pranayama section that we're working on now. Mm-hmm. Some people have requested, how to make a class shorter. I think that would be a cool kind of meetup webinar thing to do for our members, take an existing class. And the Yoga for Anxiety would be an obvious one because it's the most watched one. So that's kind of where my thinking's at with that. Okay. Anything else you'd like to show people?
I think another one of my favorite places to hang out is with Linda and the Flowing with the Moon phases.
Yes, that is a great section. Let's see. So if we, I think that's in the daily practice. Yes, it is. Daily practice section, Flowing with the Phases of the Moon. So tell everybody about this section because this is a really cool section.
Well, this is where we get to go and kind of see what we are doing in our life in correlation with the moon's phases. My kids and I it's starting to get warmer, so it's getting a little bit more exciting for me. I don't do cold very well, but we like to go outside and celebrate the full moon. And then when the moon starts to wane, we like to plan our intentions. So we talk about what we're going to work on this month. What do we want to maybe improve? Um, Maybe what we want to start. Sometimes it's just starting something. And then we check in at the end of the month. And if we have reason to celebrate, then we do a little celebration. We let things go if something didn't work for us or if somebody made us mad. Sometimes we have to let things go.
Mm-hmm.
Linda's explanations with the phases of the moon has brought a lot of realization for me personally. I won't speak for my children, but for me personally, why I behave a little
Mm-hmm.
bit overly emotional certain times
Mm-hmm.
in that particular month or whatever. So it's been very interesting to get in touch with myself um, from that perspective. And Linda makes that very easy to understand in a way that's not beyond my realm of comprehension.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoy checking in with other people and seeing what they're doing there too, and that connection.
Yeah, it's really a cool section. I think when you practice yoga, one of the things that happens is that you start to become closer to nature and following the rhythms of nature more. And one of the ways that you can do that is to connect with the phases of the moon. And, especially for women, since our cycles follow the phases of the moon, a lot of women want to be in connection with those phases even more. And
And
so,
that brings us back to The Way of the Happy Woman. That book was really,
mm,
just really to me, it really brought those together for me, the moon and then that book. Because it seems like Linda started doing that around the same time that we just finished
mhm,
up that book.
that makes sense.
So I really like that and that connection, and it's even with my own cycle, the way um, it just makes more sense.
Yeah, yeah.
It makes sense when you put the feminine issues in with the phases of the moon and then the way your mind works and your energy levels, and it's really taught me kind of that resting is okay certain times, and
Hmm.
that's the way nature intended it.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and beautiful.
Um, yeah, and I always find that whatever's happening at the full moon is also it's quite indicative of what's going on in my life
Yes,
too. So it's usually quite accurate as well.
it really is. It's eerie sometimes,
Yeah, it is.
but it's awesome to know that I'm not going through stuff alone.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it does help you feel way less alone because
Yes.
often it feels like, wow, I'm the only one going through this struggle. But yeah, everybody's in it together. That's true. Yeah. Great section. Okay. Anything else you want to let people know about?
Of course, the happiest, I think that's everybody's favorite, the happiest moment of the day. I love to go there and read what everybody is, what everybody is making happy,
Mhm.
what is making everybody happy. I just think
Mhm.
it's, when I'm feeling gloomy, I can go there and I can read something and I can feel happy for other people when I can't feel it for myself in that particular moment. And I just love sharing in other people's joy. Um,
Yes, this is a very popular section, probably has the most posts. It's a great section. It's very uplifting.
it is.
I loved Fiona's post this one too. She was just my cup runneth over with happiness. She had a very good day today.
Was that today? I haven't looked
Yes.
today yet.
It was an adorable post. Yeah. It's really great. And then this one was from the last one, most recent one was from Michelle, which was really cool because Michelle teaches this fall preventions class, and the BBC showed up and filmed her, which is really great. I really hope that gives her a lot of publicity and helps to improve the exposure for her class and gets more people out to her class.
Very exciting.
Yeah. So that's really cool. So yeah, that's a great section. So tell us a little bit about your life outside of the membership site.
Well, I'm a full-time working mommy. My real job is being a mom, though. Um, spend a lot of time doing whatever needs to be done. Football, basketball, whatever activities is consuming our time, that's what we're doing. Um, we are currently working hard and heavy on decluttering our house. That is our for lack of better terminology, it's a mission. But it's necessary. It's necessary for all of us and our well-being. And it's just making such a big difference. And I have days where no, I don't want to do it, but once I get started, it's just like, oh, I'm so glad I did this. And it's an wonderful excuse and opportunity to get to listen to recordings of the you and Molly in that
The Bhagavad
section.
Gita.
Yes. And then that's how I've gotten to listen to a couple of the other interviews so far is through decluttering. But my life is pretty uneventful to most people. But we stay very busy, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, that is busy. You've got
Yep.
three kids, right? Three
I
children.
do. I have one in college, and then I have a 15-year-old daughter, and Peyton is 9. So it's always very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm. And Peyton's very involved in sports, so I know with one daughter involved in sports, it's busy, right? You're always practices, games, all that, right?
It's been we've had lots of opportunity to sit back and say what's really important to us. And so there's been a whole lot of that going on over the past couple of years. And people are choosing the things that are important to them. And that's been a lot of having become a member of your site because you've kind of helped encourage that through retreats. The Mindful Parenting Retreat was a big deal for my family. So just stuff like that, just in addition to being a mommy, I've always wanted to teach yoga. I kind of wanted to, I don't know if it will ever lead to a teaching, but I've always wanted to take a teacher training program. So I have committed to a class that starts in September. So I'm looking forward to that. I've been hoping this one doesn't fall through.
Oh, so you have found a teacher training program.
I did, and it's
good.
local. It's here in Knoxville, so I won't have to travel over the weekends, leave the kids behind, or drag them out of school. So that's another thing that I'm getting ready to start. So, and trying not to feel anxious and wondering, can I do this kind of stuff?
You can do it. You're so ready for that. My gosh.
I really, well, I feel like you have definitely in this community has really prepared me to feel like I am
I've already taken on
ready
a
to
teacher's
take it
role here.
That, so that, yoga is my passion, and my kids get involved with that. So it's just yoga and family. That's,
Yeah, it's
that's
amazing.
Nicole.
I think would be so many people ask me how do you get your kids involved? And you've done an incredible job of including your children in your practice. And, maybe you could speak a little bit about that because personally, for me, it's always been, well, I lead by example, but my example sort of happens, I think, when they're all sleeping, so it's not really a great example. But I just the way you've included your children in your practice, and even when the way you spoke about including them in the phases of the moon and things, I think would be very inspiring for people to hear about. So why don't you speak a little bit about that?
My kids may be a little bit different from other people's kids in that they are kind of clingy to me anyway. Wherever I am, they seem to want to be there. We've got a wonderful relationship. Most of the time, it's not always perfect. But I will bring up, okay, this is what I would really like to do this weekend, say the mindful parenting retreat. This is what I really want to. I would really appreciate it if you guys would be involved. And then sometimes they'll kind of roll their eyes and they'll kind of act like they don't want to participate in something. But when it comes down to it, I think in their back of their mind, they're kind of like, well, Mom does all this for us. I think that's kind of how it started. She does all this for us. Maybe we should give it a shot. And then once they start, they think, this is kind of cool, but you can see it on their face. I don't want to admit it. And then they start asking questions. Well, why do you do that? What's the point of that? And then it's a curiosity. It starts with a suggestion, and then they kind of get curious. Not a perfect situation, but my teenage daughter is getting ready to make me a grandmother. And I saw her looking at Amazon at baby books on the Hindu gods. And I'm like, well, that is so sweet. Are we going to teach the baby yoga? And she said, oh, yeah, Mama. She said, you are. She said, you are. She still won't. She wants to, but she has her certain reservations still about it. But she definitely wants to be a part of it, whether she wants to physically participate in practices with me or not. Just doing little things here and there to make it fun. Getting them, okay, this is what, and a lot of it is leading by example with the full moon celebrations. Okay, just one thing. It doesn't have to be anything big. Just give me one thing that you're happy that happened. Keeping it simple, I think, draws them in. They don't want great big explanations. They just want shoot straight with me, Mom. And that draws them in. They don't want to be preached at or anything like that. They just want to be a part of it, I think. And I think a lot of it has to do with making sure that no matter what they're doing, they're feeling special. So whether it's driving to football or they're doing yoga with me or participating in a full moon celebration or a letting go ritual, making them feel like I am completely present is what they want more than maybe even what we're actually doing.
Yeah, and then the ritual or the full moon celebration or the yoga practice or the parenting retreat just becomes this vehicle to be present with them.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. It's just mommy time, time with Mom. So in my time with them, it's just precious because it goes by so quickly.
Yeah, it's fleeting for sure. Yeah.
So.
Well, tell us a little bit about where you live, because we have members from all around the world, in North America, all over Europe, and Australia, and Asia, everywhere. So,
well, I live in this very, very small town called Maryville, Tennessee. If you've ever heard of the Great Smoky Mountains, I'm only about 45 minutes away from there, maybe not even that far. We're at the foothills of the mountains, and it's a beautiful place to live. For a yogi, however, There's not a whole lot of support. We are in the Southern Bible Belt. Very conservative Christianity going on here, and I'm not knocking Christianity at all. I grew up Christian, but I was also taught that there's only one way.
Mm-hmm.
So for somebody like me who thinks outside of the box, it's kind of been a little bit trying and lonely, frustrating. There's a lot of negative words attached. It's been a struggle trying to work my way into feeling like what I believe is really okay. And it is. So it's been a beautiful experience in learning to trust myself, I think. The area itself, it's a beautiful place to live. We have seasons that change. We have winter, spring, summer, and fall. I mean, it's just beautiful. You get everything. We're close enough to some beaches, maybe 4 to 8 hours, depending on what beach we want to go to. Not in Tennessee, but surrounding states. And we've got mountains all around. So it's kind of lakes. It's kind of the best of everything. Yeah, Peyton's telling me we have the Tennessee River. So it's a beautiful place to live, but it's not very supportive for a yogi lifestyle. But that is slowly changing. Where outside of Knoxville, and Knoxville's kind of the happening place around us. There's clubs and stuff there that if you want to venture about 35, 40 minutes, that's where you go. But I kind of like it. The pace is slower here in Maryville than it would be in Knoxville. So I like it. I live kind of out in the country, so there's not a lot of traffic where I live, and we live in a subdivision that's good for Peyton to be able to ride his bike or scooter or whatever in the road even. Lots of kids his age. So I don't know. It's a nice place to live. Yes, if you want to come. Peyton says if you want to come.
I think that's the big advantage of online communities, that no matter where you live in the world, is that you can probably find a community online that's going to support your interests. Okay. And even within online communities, you can find a community that's going to support the style of interest in that community, right? So you can find hardcore athletic yogis, or you can find yogis that are interested in one style of yoga or another style of yoga. So I think that is really the amazing part about online communities, is that they really allow people to come together from all around the world and find their people.
Oh, it's really been a blessing to me. It's, you've got your, we are fortunate here. We have farmers, so we do have, it's farming area, so we do have, good crop and stuff like that for natural foods. But overall, there's not even many people who eat the way I do. So even in that, within your community, knowing there's other people who I don't eat meat. Knowing there's other people out there that don't eat meat, because there's a lot of cattle raising around here. That's what we do here. As a matter of fact, that's probably what started me not eating meat. My grandfather, we ate Betsy one day.
Right.
So, and my heart still breaks.
Right.
But I mean, just even knowing that there's support for people who don't eat mainstream, like mainstream Maryville, that's just it's been huge for me. Yes. So I'm very, very, very thankful that you and Tim and even Trinity and the sacrifices she makes to make this all possible. I love it. I'm so grateful.
Yeah, that's great. It is quite amazing, and it's amazing the way everybody comes together and makes it what it is, and each person's unique contribution. So, thank you, and thank you for being with us today, Nicole. I would love for people to leave their comments for you, Nicole, and to ask you questions and to let us know what they learned from you today or what they feel inspired to go do or practice because of the what they've learned from listening to you today. So please leave your comments below the interview, and I'm sure Nicole would love to hear from you and
I would.
respond to you. And that's really, like we said when we spoke in the interview today, what makes this community is hearing from each other and knowing that we're all here together and part of this community. So take the time to leave a comment and ask a question, and we look forward to hearing from you. So thank you, Nicole. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Melissa.
And thank you, everybody, for listening.